Also, some of you might have noticed I'm getting into reloading. Getting into reloading, there's a whole bunch of new stuff to review. Starting with the Inline Fabrications Ultra Mount. Now, I've used this for about a month now, so I figured I can give it a decent review. What it is, it's a pretty cool way to mount your press. Traditionally, when you mount a press to a table, it goes directly to the table. Maybe you have a mounting plate or something, but it goes directly to the table, and you're pretty limited in how you can mount it and the angle you can mount it on. This one product eliminates a lot of those issues, starting with how you want to mount it. Now, if I were to mount this press directly to the table, it would block off this drawer, but also I'd be limited and it would have to be straight on. Now, because I have a small workbench, I wanted to have everything on one workbench, and that means I wanted to put the press as far over to the right that I could. Now, if I put it all the way over here and it was straight on, that means I would be running my arm this way. I don't know how well you can see, but I'd be running my arm, pretty much running into the blinds constantly. So the nice thing is, with the Ultra Mount, I was able to angle it. So I can have the press angled a little bit because it's not attached to the front of the table, it's attached to the top of the table, and I can angle it towards me. So I can sit in the middle of my workbench and turn, swivel, and whatever, and be able to better interface with the press. So the other nice thing about this is, now I'm kind of tall, I'm about 6'5", and even if I'm sitting in my stool, which is just a standard workbench stool from Lowe's, standard height and everything, the table is fine to work at. But if you're messing with brass and priming and all that, it still is pretty low. This raises everything up about 9 inches, so it's much closer to my face. Even if I'm standing, like if I'm standing here, I can still very easily access everything and don't have to strain myself, don't have to be leaning forward. And the other nice thing is, with raising the press, people don't realize until I get into reloading, is when you're actuating the ram, depending upon your model, the handle drops pretty low. So you sometimes, especially if you're standing, you know, if it's flush with the table, you're probably leaning forward or leaning down to run the ram all the way through. So raising it up, I think overall 100% good option, especially if you're tall. So that's basically what the mount does. Now some of the features is, one, it is very tough. I mean, I don't know how to show it on camera, but it looks solid. It is solid. It's built very well, made in America, and it's modular. They do make, now different presses have different mounting plates. This is the Lee Classic turret, obviously, so it came with the Lee Classic turret mounting plate. You can get different mounting plates. You can also get stuff for quick change, I believe, and you can also get little like shell holders and stuff on the side. They make it where you can have like little plastic containers, which actually is something I'm probably going to end up getting at some point, but you can mount them on here, which is real nice, making it that you can pretty much turn this into almost an all-in-one workstation, which is really nice. The Ultra Mount does have a little table underneath, or not table, like bench underneath here. So it's nice because I can put, like, I don't always run the rod in my press. Sometimes I want to manually rotate it. So I'll take that out and sit that there. I've got my spare shell holder sitting there. And I've got, at the moment, I've got another turret in there. So I really am happy with this. All the hardware is included when you want to assemble it, including the hardware to mount the press to the mount. The only thing that's not included is the hardware to mount the mount to your table. Now the reason they do that, and I can kind of agree with, is they put in their letter stating that everybody's table is different thickness, and everybody's way they want to attach it is different. In fact, it's funny because this is actually mounted with 3 different types of bolt. I think this is a lag screw, and I think the rest are actually lag bolts, and I think the other one maybe is a different bolt, because with the drawer being here, I had to go into different things, and long story short, it's just, I can understand them not including the hardware to attach it to the bench, because it's not that big a deal to run down to Lowe's or Home Depot and get $5 in mounting hardware. Now, some of the things that I actually did that, now this obviously it wasn't designed that way, but you'll see I've got my powder measure there. They have the spare holes in the back for if you want to get the extra add-ons. And the nice thing I was able to do was, I talked about being tall and trying to bring things up closer to me, is I was able to once again run down to my local hardware store and pick up just a standard little bolt and a washer and a nut, and I attached my powder measure to the back here. So all I have to do is take the, I'm going to pretend here, because YouTube is all fanatical about flagging reloading equipment stuff. Don't worry, YouTube, eventually I'm going to start doing it whether you like it or not. But I can take my case, bring it over, powder, done, back in, and it's all right there and right up to me. Like I said, being tall, it kind of sucks when you're working at a workbench and you want to be able to see stuff real close. But overall, I really am happy with the Ultra mount. About the only criticism I can have, and it's not so much criticism, it's just me being cheap, is now the mount itself, this was $75. It is worth that. Okay, this is a buy once and done type item. Like I said, they're extremely well built. I can't foresee anything on this breaking ever. And like I said, it is $75, which, okay, that's a good chunk of money, but you're probably never going to need to replace it, and you're buying good American-made product, not some cheap junk in China. So I had no problem paying it. It's just, it is one of those things where it's like, okay, it's kind of a big expense when you're just getting into reloading. So that's about my only criticism, is that it's $75. Other than that, I really don't have anything negative to say about it. And like I said, I can understand their justification for $75. With it being made in America, it's made out of good, solid steel, and it's not cheap to produce stuff in America. So, but like I said, always got to come up with something to complain about. So that's my one complaint, is that you're paying for a quality item, I guess. I don't even know if that's a complaint. That's just, like I said, that's just me being cheap. But overall, very happy with the product. I would highly recommend it, especially for someone who is going to be reloading for long hours and is maybe a little bit on the taller side, wants to bring their press closer to them. They do have different models. They have different models that raise up different heights. I got the tallest one because, one, I'm tall, and I wanted to make sure that the ram would clear the top of the bench and I could bring it further back and angle it. But like I said, highly recommend it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and have a good day.